Expert witnesses often need guidance from their instructing legal team as to the form and structure of their expert report. But what do you think happens if an expert witness's report transpires to have been almost entirely written by the legal team? Welcome to Expert Witness Red Flags. My name is Mark Tottenham. I'm the author of The Reliable Expert Witness, which is a handbook for expert and professional witnesses giving evidence in courts, arbitrations, and other tribunals. Now, inexperienced experts often don't know what is expected of an expert report. While they are specialists in the subject matter that they're advising on, they may not have experience in relation to how to present this information to the court, because the judges and the lawyers are not specialists and they need the information presented in a way that they can answer the appropriate legal issues. So it's not surprising that legal teams very often provide some guidance to the experts as to the form or structure of the report. But what they shouldn't do is influence the opinion of the expert. That's a matter for the expert, him or herself. In the Australian federal case of New Aim Pty Ltd and Leung, the plaintiff was a supplier to Australia of goods manufactured and distributed from China. The claim was against 3 former executives of the company, and there were allegations that they had provided confidential information to competitors of the plaintiff company. Now, the plaintiff called an expert witness to give evidence in relation to the trade in goods from China to Australia. However, it transpired that there had been extensive exchanges between the expert and the instructing legal team in relation to the content of the report. The final report appeared to have been written only one day after a formal letter of instruction had been sent to the expert. There had been numerous email exchanges between the expert and the instructing legal team. And in fact, the final report bore remarkable similarity to certain drafts that had been provided from the legal team to the expert witness. So what did the judge have to say about this? There are many difficulties with the expert report of this expert, which individually and cumulatively lead me to the conclusion that I should reject it in its entirety. I am left in a state of uncertainty as to who was responsible for the drafting of which portions of her report. What occurred in this case went far beyond the permissible scope of involvement of lawyers who retain an independent expert in order to give evidence in a proceeding. So the judge rejected the expert's report. But that wasn't the end of the story, because the plaintiffs then appealed the judge's ruling, and it went to the full chamber of the court. And in fact, the appeal was allowed, and the appeal court took the view that the judge had been wrong to reject the report in its entirety. For one thing, they said that there were no strict legal guidelines as to what involvement there could be between the legal team and the expert in relation to the drafting of the report. And secondly, they said that certain factual sections of the report should have been admitted to the court. However, the case still holds lessons for expert witnesses. First of all, you should ensure at the end of the day that the report that's submitted to the court is your own work and not that of anybody else. Secondly, the lawyers may have some involvement in the preparation of the report or giving you guidance in relation to that, but this should be largely limited to the form and structure of the report, not the substance. And thirdly, if there are exchanges between the expert and the legal team in relation to the content of the report, it's very important that these be done in writing so that everybody can see whether or not the legal team have gone too far in their guidance to the expert. Furthermore, different countries have different standards when it comes to the involvement of legal teams in the drafting of an expert witness report. An expert should be reassured at all times that they are not breaching any legal or professional obligations to the court. Ensure that any guidance is given in writing from the legal team. And if you need further guidance as to the work of an expert witness, have a look at my book, The Reliable Expert Witness, or see my website, marktottenham.com.